Welcome. I'm Natalie Bastian, Global CMO at Teads, and I am joined today by Patrick Benson, the Director of Digital, Social, and PR for El Pollo Loco. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me here.
Of course, yeah. So we're here. We're at the Canvas Worldwide campus here in LA for the Media Summit. That's with Brand Innovators, and you just wrapped a panel with other social media colleagues throughout the industry talking about the importance of social strategies. But as your title says, you represent much more than that. So let's get started. Can you share a recent campaign that you're proud of, excited about, that's either currently on market or just wrapped?
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. I would say one of the campaigns that I'm super proud of that we worked on recently, and this was about a year or so ago, was our Shredded Beef Birria campaign. So it had multiple touch points, but as our social and digital guy, a lot of what that campaign was and the success that came from it was due to our social media and our influencers and our TikTok. And so what we had recognized was, there was this trend during kind of COVID, and a lot, especially in the LA market and the DMA here in LA, was, shredded beef birria and food trucks, and it was such a big thing. And so for us, we felt like we wanted to be the first QSR to bring that to market. And so we worked really closely with our, head of culinary and our team, and we put together this amazing Mexican shredded beef birria that had tacos, burritos, quesadillas, and we really struck, lightning in a bottle with it when we rolled it out. It was timely, the product was great, but in terms of what we were doing and what we were responsible for and with the marketing, we had this campaign with these TikTok influencers. They were unboxing the product. They were doing these mukbangs, these reviews online, and it really kind of took off and developed a life of its own. We started our media, and our sales were at about, our sales mix was about 1%. And then overnight, we went to about 8.5% just from TikTok and influencer marketing alone. So it was really cool to see how we doubled down on that platform and how choosing the right influencers really paid off. When all was said and done, we saw, I would say, record sales for 3.5, 4 weeks in a row, and it ended up being our most successful LTO in the 40-year history of the company. So a lot of great wins from that campaign, for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot to be proud of, and it sounds delicious. And I'm not just saying that because we just wrapped lunch, but when you think about the content and the importance, especially with an emerging, part of the brand, an emerging product that hasn't been done yet.
Yeah.
How do you think about content and programming, especially from like an influencer perspective, but just from a branding? What are the considerations that you think through?
Yeah, I think this has obviously been a big topic of conversation today, but authenticity. We want to make sure we're selecting the right influencers, the people, whether they are an influencer or a content creator, the people that can authentically speak to our product. Mexican shredded beef birria is, it's made in a certain way. We wanted people to talk about it in a special way, really lean in and kind of highlight the premium aspect of the product and be able to talk about our rich history as a brand. So I think for us, it always goes back to authenticity, picking those influencers. We want to move away from it just feeling very transactional and really kind of invest in these influencers who are going to come back, do other campaigns with us, and really build on what we're trying to tell from a storytelling perspective.
Yeah, and another piece of authenticity is also the context of which the content is within. And so as far as when you look at the media landscape and where you're investing your media, what are your considerations on context in the environments that the ads are served beyond social media across digital, TV?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I got to El Pollo Loco about 3.5 years ago, our digital media mix was incredibly low. We were spending about 98% of our media mix on traditional TV and only 2% on digital. And now it's close to 50% is digital and the other 50% is traditional. And so for a brand like El Pollo Loco, we tend to skew older. We're the brand that, you grew up eating. We're largely Hispanic. 50% of our audience is Hispanic. So there's definitely those digital avenues that we go down and work with the influencers and do the TikToks and the Metas of the world. But we also have to kind of remain tried and true to some of the things that work for our core audience. TV, FSIs, coupons, some of those more traditional mediums for advertising.
Where do you see connected TV and OTT in the mix? Do you see that in the traditional bucket or the digital bucket in your mind?
I mean, we look at our TRPs and our impressions year over year, but I think for me, I look at connected TV as falling under digital. We buy on YouTube, we buy on CTV, we have non-skippable ads on those platforms. But I think, as customers are cutting the cord and are moving away from, TV, kind of outside of like award shows and sports, we have to think about, for us, like, how can we get our spots in front of the right eyeballs? How can we make sure that El Pollo Loco and our brand is top of mind? And so that's really done through, avenues like CTV and, some of those different advertising platforms that we run our media on.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And when you look at, obviously the most recent campaign, you saw almost overnight success going from 1% to 8%. But when you look at your always on, do you have a measurement structure that looks at the different medias across TV, digital, social? Do you have one metric or one area that helps gauge how things are performing?
I mean, there's a lot of different KPIs that we have in place, but for us, it depends on the ad objective that we're buying against and the campaign. So for something like loyalty, obviously it's lower down the funnel, it's more conversion based. How many signups and downloads are we driving to the app? How many people can we get to use the app? Things like that. For some of our LTOs, limited time offers, like, it's more upper funnel brand awareness. So, you go to TikTok, you get as many influencers talking about the product, mass reach in terms of impressions and eyeballs, but hopefully that obviously then translates into product trial, user-generated content, people reviewing the product, so on and so forth. So for us, it really just depends on, how we're buying the media, what platform it's on, and then we'll back into, a guaranteed impression, a cost per view, whatever it may be. But we definitely like to use data to inform those media decisions that we make, and really use that to also inform content and creative as well.
Awesome. So, crystal ball, looking ahead, when you look at the media landscape as a media buyer owner, what do you want to see evolve a year from now?
That's a great question. I mean, I think for us, it's just continuing to evolve and modernize our marketing mix and the way we go to market with media. Like I said, El Pollo Loco tends to skew older. 50% of our audience is Hispanic, and there's a lot of people who grew up on El Pollo Loco, eating El Pollo Loco. We're very much, we have that rich history in the LA market. And so I think for us, and where I would want to be in a year, is definitely continuing to reach for that aspirational younger Gen Z customer, while also not alienating the core El Pollo Loco customer that, loves our chicken and loves our brand through and through. So finding kind of the right way in on both of those elements, I would say.
Wonderful. Well, Patrick, thank you so much for your time today. It was really insightful, and it was really great to learn a little bit more about your brand and a lot more about the strategies you have in place. And I'm sure everyone that's tuning in now grabbed a few nuggets for themselves as well. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.